Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I want to talk about some of the social, mental health, and other types of noticeable benefits that Dungeons & Dragons can really bring to the table when it comes to people, individuals, children, youth, anything along these lines, even adults. So a while back, CBC, which for those outside of Canada is our Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, it's our big TV channel, news station. And they ran a news article and a story on their website about how Dungeons & Dragons was being used by Autism Nova Scotia to help individuals with autism develop social skills and to help sort of prepare them for, when they, get out of school and can enter the workforce. And it's just ways to build, interactions and learn how to, take turns and how to be to be respectful of other people's opinions. And it's just, there's a lot of really cool things that they're doing with this program, and it's actually something that I'm volunteering for. So I'm actually going to be running a D&D game for individuals that have autism, and again, this to help them build these social skills so that when they graduate from high school, they can enter the workforce. So it's a really awesome thing, and we got to do some character creation, and I think it's going to be a really fun game, and I'm really looking forward to it. And it really got me thinking about all the things that D&D is being used for these days, or that it can be used for, and ways that I hope to use it in the future, because this volunteer program ends about the middle of May, and I'd love to just sort of keep doing other things with Dungeons & Dragons and youth to help them out. So I've read, there was an article a while ago about how Dungeons & Dragons was being used by some therapists down in the United States to help children that had suffered through traumatic events try to deal with that traumatic event. At first it's just a way of trying to just get them to open up about anything, get them enjoying the game and get them sort of talking again, because a lot of these situations are being used with children that just kind of shut down completely after something happens to them. And then they can slowly introduce elements into the game that can help them sort of get to the root cause of what's causing their anxieties and their issues, and work on them and try to actually help them through it, which is again just really awesome. And it's just so cool that the tabletop role-playing game where you roll dice can do these sort of things. I know personally Dungeons & Dragons helped me get through severe depression, and I made a video about that a while ago. So there's again just those benefits, and so the things that I want to do going forward is I want to try getting more involved with volunteering at there's a children's hospital here in Halifax, the IWK. And I would love to, once I'm done with this, with Autism Nova Scotia, or once we wrap up that program, I'd like to see if I can volunteer at the Children's Hospital and run a regular D&D game for some of the children that are there. And if nothing else, for an hour, 2 hours, or however long the game goes for, hopefully 2 to 3 hours, it can, hopefully take their minds off of, their illnesses or their health issues, and just let them be kids, let them have fun, let them play a game. And I think that that's something that would be, really, really awesome to do. And if you're someone who, loves Dungeons & Dragons and you want to get into volunteer work, maybe that could be an avenue to pursue. If you have groups that help individuals with autism in your area, then that could be one place to start. Children's Hospital could be another place. I'd like to also see if I can do some volunteer work at some schools, not elementary, but like junior high and high schools, to again help children with learn things through Dungeons & Dragons. One of the really great things about it is you can be used to build, well, again, social skills, which you talked about. But it's also really great at just reinforcing basic mathematics of addition and subtraction, which is one of those things that some children struggle with, and this is a way of helping them kind of get, help them with that, help them get past these difficulties with these basic mathematics, but it's still fun. Instead of sitting down and just doing math problems, you're rolling dice, you're fighting monsters, you're telling stories, but while you're doing all these things, you're starting to get a stronger foundation of how to just do these basic mathematics, and it's always random numbers. So it's not just like going 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 1 plus 4, or things like that. It's randomized numbers, because you got whatever you got on the dice plus your modifiers, and I think it can do a lot of good for that. I think it can also help, I guess the term would be at-risk children when it comes to their home life, or when it comes to fears for their future. It might be something that can be used with these children to get them into something that gets them off the streets, sort of idea. Getting them sitting around the table, rolling dice and having fun, instead of roaming the streets and possibly getting involved in illegal activities. So that's something else that I think Dungeons & Dragons could be of a major benefit for. And to me, it's just so cool to see that we've actually come this far. Because when I first started playing D&D, and I know a lot of people that started around the time that I did or before will remember the religious persecution, and will remember the parent advocacy groups and just how they were attacking D&D and saying that it was ruining the children, it was ruining the nation's youth, and all these other things. And now we see that it's being used to help children therapeutically, to help them educationally, because again, in addition to the basic math, it can help them with reading, it can build an interest in history and mythology. There's a lot of really great things that Dungeons & Dragons can do. And for me, it's just so awesome that I get to do volunteer work where I'm playing D&D. And I think that there's just so many good things that can come from doing this, that again, I want to branch out once this program wraps up, because right now I want to put all my focus into that. But after that, I'm going to contact the Children's Hospital, see if there's something that I can do, even if it's once a week, once every 2 weeks, even if it's once a month. Just get together and run some D&D games for these children, and just take their mind off of it. I mean, with my issues with depression, D&D took my mind off of it, and for a few hours every week I felt normal. And I owe that to Dungeons & Dragons, and it got me through a really tough time. So there's a lot of great mental health benefits that D&D can help you with. There's a lot of great social elements that D&D can help you with. I mean, I have friends that were very introverted, and they still are to a degree, but they'd be very quiet and not really talk too much. But we started playing D&D together, and it was great to see them come out of their shells. I mean, I know personally, it's helped me a lot with social skills, and it's kind of gotten me more comfortable talking to people, because I was, again, very, very introverted when I was going through high school. So again, I just wanted to sort of make this video, talk about it a little bit in detail, not overly do it in terms of detail, but just talk about it a little bit, because again, there's so many great things that I think Dungeons & Dragons can do for our youth and for people. And I'm glad to see that we're sort of the polar opposite now of all those the fear mongering and stuff that happened with D&D in the late 80s and into the early 90s. So anyway, again, just another thing out there, if you're looking to do volunteer work, you can maybe try to bring Dungeons & Dragons into that volunteer work, because I think there's going to be, hopefully more and more situations where you're going to have, groups wanting to do this for various reasons. So if you're looking to do volunteer work, that could be a great way to sort of get your foot in the door, because that's what I'm doing, because I wanted to sort of, start doing some volunteer stuff, and for me, this is the perfect fit. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and if you have any experiences with programs along these lines, or if you've done something along these lines, let me know in the comments below, because I like to know sort of what approach that you took to contact, things like children's hospitals or schools, or things of that nature, to help me sort of when I get the opportunity to do it myself. And yeah, and if you decide after watching this to go and do some volunteer stuff, let me know about that as well, because I think it's just a really cool thing, and it shows that Dungeons & Dragons can be this huge benefit instead of this big scary thing that people thought it was 20, 30 years ago. So again, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.